What's up, everyone? Doing things a little bit out of order today, but forgot to mention this before my workout. I will have a few row along videos dropping in the next week or so on the channel. They will be 60-minute sessions, just me on the erg, no talking, no music, just the hum of the erg at various stroke rates. For example, 60-minute row at 20 strokes per minute. I'll have a few at different stroke rates. For those of you who are doing steady state, perhaps you've been training alone in your garage, like me, for a long time. You want a little companionship. It's perfect for firing up your laptop or your TV next to your erg. I deliberately made them with no talking and no music, so you can put your own music on. But if that's your thing, and that would be helpful to you, stay tuned for those in the next week or two. Just thought I would take you all through a little bit more of how I think about a typical workout on the rower. If you have a goal in mind, a target time, for example, then I would highly recommend building a program for yourself. So not only does that take the guesswork and the thinking out of your routine, but it will give you, if it's set up correctly, some nice milestones and checkpoints along the way to actually gauge your progress, and it will also keep the training interesting. So for me, as I've gotten back into rowing, once I set a goal in mind of actually doing a 2K race, I wanted something that would keep me honest. Right, something that would make it harder for me to make excuses. Something that was very prescriptive. About 2 months ago, I started following the PEAT plan. And what I really like about it is it's relatively simple. I think I read a blog post about it, and that all the programming information I needed was right there. And it also provided some nice guidelines for pacing across all of the different workouts in the plan based on your 2-kilometer race pace. So that was really helpful for me. And over the last 2 months, I have done and repeated several of the workouts on the PEAT plan. And it's been a really good way for me to actually gauge my progress, right? As I'm doing the same workout every 3 weeks or so, see how I'm improving as my training progresses. Funny I say that though, because today's workout is actually one I have not done yet. And I don't know why. I might have accidentally skipped it in my last couple 3-week cycles, but it's a fun one. I'm looking forward to it, actually, just given the variety. And I'll just quickly take you all through it, and then we'll talk about some mental cues and just generally how I approach my workouts, because the mental side of it is also hugely important. So today's workout is a shorter, much higher intensity workout with a decent amount of total volume at or below target 2K race pace. I don't think I have done enough top end speed work, increasing my maximum power. I feel like there's more ground to make up. So this is a workout that is intended to target that. So on the left here, you have 7 intervals. So think of them as seven separate pieces within the workout of varying distances. So you can see we start short, 250 meters. We go up to 1,000 meters, and then we go back down. So this is what we would call a pyramid. And then on the right side over here, we have the associated amount of rest after each interval. As we go up the pyramid and the pieces get longer, the rest gets longer. And as we start making our way back down, the rest gets shorter as well. To really get the most out of your time and your energy that you're putting into your workouts, have a mental plan. Mental cues and goals can help give you more specific things to focus on during your workouts. I don't talk about pace much in my workout videos, and that's very intentional because pace is going to be different from me to you to the next person. The pace that I do my workouts at doesn't matter. Find the pace that works well for you, where you're at in your journey, in your training program. I have a target pace in mind. This is the average pace that I am hoping to race my 2K at next weekend. I was not that far off actually when I did my last training 2K in the garage. So I do think this is realistic, or maybe just slightly below. And this is a number that I want to get much more comfortable seeing on the screens. I'll see really low numbers on the machine and I'll think, oh my gosh, I went out too hard, yikes. And then that kicks off this downward spiral of anxiety, which is death in a 2-kilometer race, right? And I'll do a separate video next week actually on how I am approaching the race, what my race plan is. Now I put discipline here. This is really key because by discipline, what I mean is I want to very intentionally not go too much faster than that, even if I'm feeling good. Especially these first couple pieces, they're relatively short and it might feel easy to hold that pace. The problem is if I go out too fast, too far below that for these first couple free pieces, I will be paying for it dearly in the back half of the workout. And so discipline and consistency are really what I'm looking for here across this entire workout. And if I feel like I've got a little bit too much left in the tank, I can always crank it down these last couple pieces. I would much rather do that than be struggling, as you saw me do a couple videos ago when I did a 3 by 1,000 meter workout. I mismanaged that.
No, I'm okay. Sit down, stay down, stay down. Don't try to stand up.
My second cue for the day is to maintain my length, my stroke length, when I'm tired. When we get tired, our stroke shortens up. And I've noticed this. I mean, I feel it when I'm on the rower, but I've certainly noticed it when I've been watching my videos back that my stroke length will shorten significantly, even at the same stroke rate. So I want to be thinking about maintaining my length. And then my last mental cue is really all about cadence. I think 33 strokes per minute is an optimal stroke rate for me. I think any lower than that, and I am having to work too hard per stroke or each stroke. And any faster than that, I don't feel like I have quite enough recovery time between each stroke. And that's it. So with that in mind, let's get warmed up and jump into it. Good idea. When you've done a high intensity session on the rower, make sure you cool down. Unless you're about to pass out, don't just get up and walk away. You want to give your body and your muscles a chance to flush that lactic acid out. So you want to keep the blood pumping, the body moving for a few minutes. Now, you don't need to apply any pressure. I'm just barely sliding up and down that slide. I also drop my resistance on the damper down to 1. So all the way to the bottom. I want the resistance as light as possible. Again, I'm just going through the motions here. Slow rate. Just feeling like we are gradually cooling down. After a couple minutes of paddling like this, should feel pretty good. And again, this will just help jumpstart your recovery. Make sure you hydrate, obviously, especially if you sweat like me. Just gotta be sipping water all throughout the day, non-stop. As my coach in college used to say, if you're not pissing clear, you're not drinking enough. So, maybe a little extreme, but the point is well taken. Now, having done all of the different workouts in the PEAT plan, I would say this is not the hardest. I think it looks a lot harder when you draw it up on the whiteboard than it actually is. Not that it's not hard, it was a hard workout, but I think the 4 by 1,000 meter is by far and away the biggest ass kicker in the program. I watched, I think because I've been posting a lot of rowing content and watching some rowing content, my YouTube is now filled with suggested rowing related clips. And so I watched one yesterday from a former US Olympian. He had a great piece of advice for 2Ks, which popped into my head during this workout, which was the only stroke you're worried about is the one you're on. So in other words, be super present. Don't be thinking about, oh my God, I've got X amount of meters left. How am I going to survive? You're focused on each and every stroke and making each and every stroke as good as it can be. So that was one. And the other thing he said, you know, at various points throughout the race, so in a 2K race, usually it happens for people kind of around the 1,000 meter mark to 1,400 meter mark, that third 500, where the way he said it, the erg will start to ask you questions. It'll start to ask you if you want more. And your answer's gotta be, yeah, I want more. Bring it on. Even as I say that, it sounds really corny, but executing a successful 2-kilometer race on the erg is as much mental as it is physical. So I really like those. I think being more present during the race or even during hard workouts like this is such a great cue. That was the last hard workout for the week. Looking forward to some steady state tomorrow, then a rest day, and then big week next week. I'm excited to share it with you all. So until then, take care of yourselves, keep chasing, peace.